All right, we ready to go? Hey guys, I am so excited to be here tonight. We have some great information for you. I know that on the slides, if you saw those being promoted, that I am a big believer in that the body is created to heal itself. We just have to give it the right environment. So tonight, I'm going to kind of drill down that a little bit. I want to talk about your internal terrain. So just as a farmer will test the soil, to see what nutrients are there, what needs to be added and amended so that their crops are good and healthy. We need to be doing that with our own body. And I'm going to be showing you a simple pH test that you can do right in the comfort of your home to help to determine what is happening in your internal terrain. So let me just see what's happening here. It says I'm going to go to the next slide. Here we go. So I'm Tina Ciesla. My husband Paul and I live just south of Birmingham, Alabama. We've been married 27 years and we have raised two beautiful daughters, and we have our first grandchild arrived this summer. So we have not always lived a healthy lifestyle. I'm going to tell you just a little bit about my story. I was diagnosed about 10 years ago with fibromyalgia, and that was after seeing several doctors with lots of pain and inflammation, a lot of tests. I had a positive ANA blood panel. If you know what that is, it's where they see if you have an autoimmune condition. Mine came back positive. And so with that, it basically, they started going through some other tests that all came back negative, like some of the scary autoimmune things. And when everything came back negative, they just kind of summarized it and said I had fibromyalgia. Now, fibromyalgia is a real condition, but I didn't believe that I had it. And I didn't want to take the stack of prescriptions that the doctor was offering me because I am the middle of three children, and I'm the only one that has not had an addiction to medication. Both of my siblings have suffered their entire lives. What started as just a simple medical prescription, and I recognized some of those names of those meds that the doctor was offering me. And I just said, no, I'm going to try to address this in a natural way. And so I came home, I hit my knees in prayer, started doing the whole Dr. Google thing, and discovered that a lot of the foods that I was eating were causing a lot of inflammation. So I started with foods, really started unpacking like what I was putting in my body and then replacing that with things that were going to help provide the right environment for my body to heal itself. So I went from being a drive-through person, drinking Diet Coke, eating just whatever, and I live in the South, so everything is fried here. And so I just started learning how to prepare foods a little different and include healthy options. And so here I am 10 years later. I no longer have fibromyalgia symptoms. I manage all of my health and the health of my family mostly at home. I just completed and became a board certified holistic health practitioner. And so I'm very passionate about helping other people figure out what the internal terrain is supposed to be for them. Okay, so let's take a look at this. All right, so I'm sure you've heard of pH, but sometimes you may not know exactly what it is and what it does, because there's a lot of different ways we look at pH. But what we're going to be talking about tonight, the pH stands for potential hydrogen. Now, this is the measurement of resistance, and it indicates the speed of your digestion and the creation of energy. pH is a figure expressing the acidity or the alkalinity of a solution on a logarithmic scale. So let's take a look at what that looks like in a logarithmic scale, because we look at these numbers, and of course this is a little picture of a pH from 0 to 14. It's just there for graphics, but when we look at, and I'm trying to move this menu so I can see my whole slide. When we look at this, pH is measured on a logarithmic scale, so it's important to look at the numbers. For example, a pH of 3 is 10 times more acidic than a pH of 4, and 100 times more acidic than a pH of 5. Similarly, a pH of 9 is 10 times more alkaline than a pH of 8, and it's 100 times more than a pH of 7. So acidic numbers have a higher concentration of hydrogen, while alkaline numbers have a lower concentration of hydrogen. And so when you look at, well, if you do your test and you come in at a 6 and you want to be a 6.4, then we'll explain why that is not as close as you think it is because of that logarithmic scale. All right, so what is energy and how is it related to pH? Who in here feels tired? Who in here is, you feel like it's the daylight savings time has ended for most of us, and it's 4 o'clock and it's dark and you just want to go to bed? Like, are you experiencing a lack of energy? So what is energy? It is an electromagnetic force that can either be heat, electricity, or matter. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, but instead it can be converted from one form to another. Energy can be present, but you're not able to use it. Now, what is health? It's the harmonious function of the body maintaining homeostasis. And then the opposite of that is illness. So when your reserve energy is lost, the body's inability to maintain optimal function due to a lack of nutrients being brought into the body to balance that required energy output, that's when we get sickness. So when we look at your body was created to heal itself, you just have to give it the right environment. This is why fast food was contributing to my unwellness, right? And it's why it's so important to look at the food that we are putting in our body. So let's take a little bit more look at homeostasis and how pH is used in different tests. So your body is always working hard to maintain those narrow ranges in the body chemistry. So if you were to have your blood pH level tested, normal range for that is 7.35 to 7.45. Now we're primarily talking about saliva and urine pH, and both of those are ideal at a 6.4. Some people get confused and they think we're talking about stomach pH, and that's not what we're talking about. Your stomach is a very acidic place to break down your food, and that comes in at 1.5 to 3.5. So your body's going to use your reserve energies and minerals to keep that pH in balance. And when your reserves are depleted, the body begins to break itself down to release those energy and nutrients. So what is reserve energy? We want to build the reserve energy, and we talk about living a clean, healthy lifestyle at Young Living all the time. It's something that we really it's in every message that we share, right? So what does a clean, healthy lifestyle look like? First of all, nutrition, and that acronym JERF stands for Just Eat Real Food. You want to eat the food as close to the way that God made it for our bodies as possible. And then hydration, there's some confusion here. I know I used to think it was 8-ounce glasses of water. Well, 8 times 8 is 64. So if you weigh 128 pounds, that's pretty good for you. But if you don't, an easy way to figure it out is just drink half your body weight in ounces of water a day. Now, I know that's sometimes it seems daunting, especially if you're hardly getting any water in. Let me encourage you. A tip that I share with my clients is to drink 4 ounces of water at the top of the hour and drink 4 ounces of water at the bottom of the hour. So every 30 minutes for, say, 10 hours during the day while you're awake and at work or school or whatever your day's like, you want to get in a half a cup of water. That's very doable. And that is a good head start on getting enough water. So movement. You got to get up off the couch, all right? Not all of us are conditioned to be going to the gym, and that's okay. Start somewhere. You might want to start with walking to the mailbox and back, and doing it because you want to, not because there's mail in the mailbox. Just make yourself get up and move more during the day. Okay, sleep. Big debate on this one. In the past, people knew you were supposed to sleep a long time at night. Sorry about the dog barking. But as we have become working class, we work into the night, a lot of people are getting just 5 or 6 hours at night if they're lucky. You really need 7 to 9 hours of uninterrupted deep sleep. And we have things that we can help you with that if you're not achieving your sleep patterns. And we could teach a whole class on that. All right, so then let's look at the elimination. And when I say elimination, I'm not just talking about bowel movements, although that's very important. The acronym here, BULLS, that stands for bowels, urinary, lungs, lymph, and skin. So all of those pathways need to be open and clearing out as you are going through your day. If you're just having one bowel movement every 2 or 3 days, that's not enough. If you're not going to the bathroom and urinating and having a light straw color to your urine, then you may be not going to the bathroom too much enough. Your lungs and your lymph, a lot of people don't look at this very often, but we've been through a lot of talk in the last couple of years about the health of the lungs. Our lungs are part of that detoxification system, and we need to keep them clear and operating and open to breathing fresh air 24/7 without restriction. Lymph, that's where the movement comes in. You want your lymphatic system moving. And of course, your skin. Things are always sweating out of our skin, and we want to help get those toxins out of our body. And that's where a lot of that water comes in. So stress and emotional wellness, oils. We have so many oils to help with stress and emotional wellness, but also just learning how to have healthy boundaries and not putting too much on yourself, learning to say the word no, and practicing less stress and more emotional wellness. And of course, spirituality. Practice it daily, whether it's prayer or meditation, reading scripture, reading poetry, whatever it is that helps you in your spirituality, you want to do that every single day. So those are those foundational things that help to build our reserve energy. And you can probably look at that list and think, wow, no wonder I'm tired, because I'm not really doing those things. Or maybe some of the people in your family aren't. Another thing is that people with low energy reserves will have less room for cheating on a healthy lifestyle. So how do I test my pH at home? This is pretty simple. And this is a couple little things you're going to do. You're going to collect samples of your saliva and your urine. You're going to have a little bit of instruction on when and how. So I like to use just a little shot glass or even a communion cup. You can get those on Amazon. I don't have a link for that, but you can find it on your own. And you're basically just going to work up some spit and spit it in the cup. It doesn't have to be much. You want to do that at least 30 minutes after anything by mouth. And that includes a thieves lozenge, a drink of water, anything. Okay. And our saliva reading is going to be telling us about what is happening with our upper digestion. Now, with the urine, you don't want to use your first morning void, but you do want to wait a couple of hours after your last meal. The reason why is we want to see what's going on in our lower digestion. So that's where the numbers are going to be most accurate. Just grab a party cup. You want it to be clear because you want to look at it and see the color, see if there's anything floating in your urine. But you're going to collect your urine, and you don't need much, but collect enough that you can examine and see what's going on in that cup. All right, so what are you going to do with those? I love these Hydrion pH strips. There's a lot of pH strips out on the market. You may already have some just like this, but there are some that have way too many numbers on them for the urine and the saliva. So this one ranges from 5.5 to 8.0, and this is what I use and recommend. You can get them on Amazon. There's a link. Stacy will put that in the chat. And these cost about $10, and there's a whole roll. Now, you do need to know that there is an expiration date on these litmus papers. So you don't want to use something that is expired. If you have some laying around the house and they're expired, go ahead and throw them away and freshen up with a new order. So just tear off about 2-inch strip, one for the urine and one for the saliva. You're going to just quickly dip that strip into that sample you just spit in a cup and quickly compare that strip. It's going to immediately turn a color. And the color chart is right there on the container. You can see it on the slide. And you're going to look in as good of light as you can. I love to use a UV light like a work lamp, or if it's daytime, just take it to a nearby well-lit window and compare your strip and make a note of what that number is. So it's important that you know these numbers because you're wanting to track your results. So you're going to just repeat this again with your saliva. Now, the way I write my equation is in that last bullet point. I will write the number for the urine with a slash and then the number for the saliva. And if you stay in this pattern all the time, then you will always have that in your records. And if you keep a wellness journal or a diary and you want to track this maybe one day a week and implement some of the things I'm going to teach you and then track it again, I believe that you're going to see some improvement in the numbers. Okay. So let's talk about the stages of healing. Because based on your numbers, you're going to form a pattern. You're collecting samples and testing two numbers. So that number is as follows. So if you are in pattern 1, where both your urine and saliva are at a 6.4, you're optimal. If you test and your urine is alkaline and your saliva is alkaline, or we call that high, you're going to be in pattern 2. Pattern 3 is where your urine is acidic and your saliva is alkaline. That's called a low high. And then pattern 4 is an alkaline acidic or a high low. So you're looking at a high urine and a low saliva. And then pattern 5, you're looking at acidic, low, low. So that's where both urine and saliva are in an acidic pattern. All right, so let's talk about these patterns because this is really fascinating to me, and I think it will be to you as well. So pattern 1, this is the best possible range for nutrient assimilation and elimination of waste. This means that your upper and your lower digestion are running at the same speed. There is minimal loss of energy and your digestion is going good. So this is the pattern that we would all want to be in. But if you're in that pattern, it doesn't mean that your health is perfect, okay? So this is not the only marker we go by, but it is a good start, and it's something you can do at home. So let's look at this stage 2. This is the alkaline, or the high. So a common presentation with the high, we see this a lot. This is where both the upper and the lower digestion are running slow. This is where we see constipation. We see that the body has become toxic because the waste is being reabsorbed into the bloodstream. Lymphatic congestion is usually common, sinus issues, skin issues, even swelling in the extremities like feet and hands. This pattern creates a favorable environment for candida and parasites and bacterial overgrowth. You want to expect some things going on with the gallbladder, the kidney, and liver stress. This is not where we want to be, right? But you'll be surprised how many people will test in this alkaline. People ask me all the time, what do you think about alkaline water? And while I know the shelves are full of alkaline water, I said, well, it really depends on what's going on with your pH. If you're in stage 2, you're not going to want to contribute more alkalinity to your pH in this pattern. So what are some of the solutions for this? So we want to support with a full spectrum digestive enzyme, particularly the ones with protease. That's what digests protein. We want to break up that protein and get it digested and stop absorbing that waste back into the blood. We want to support the gallbladder and the liver. Calcium gluconate is a great place to start for that. Probiotics, they help populate the good gut bacteria. You want to consider possibly a colon cleanse. And by the way, the fall is a great time of the year to do a colon cleanse. You might want to consider a service called colonics or enemas. And then lymphatic support. This includes things like dry brushing, rebounding, movement, and then there's supplements too that helps to support the lymphatic drainage. Okay, let's take a look at pattern number 3. This is the acidic alkaline, or the low high. So the upper body is, the digestion is running slow, while the lower digestion is running fast. The food is sitting in the stomach too long, so you could expect bloating, gas, heartburn, acid reflux, and digestive discomfort. You can expect to be really tired, fatigued, joint and muscle pain. That's usually due to a lack of amino acids. The lower digestion is moving fast, resulting in low absorption of nutrients. The bowel movements may be regular, but what you're eliminating could be days old. So let's look at some solutions for pattern 3. Alkaline saliva shows a need for vitamin C. I think we could help that, right? Full spectrum digestive enzymes, probiotics, and prebiotics. We've got several products that have prebiotics in them. Multivitamins and a full spectrum mineral support. You'd like to probably support your adrenals during the day, but you probably need some melatonin at night. And then, of course, we always want to add that calcium in. So pattern 4, this is the alkaline acidic. So it's the opposite of pattern 3. This is where the urine is alkaline and the saliva is acidic, or a high-low. So the upper digestion is running way too fast, while the lower digestion is running too slow. This leads to fast stomach digestion, but slow bowel digestion. Think of it like a log jam, and it's resulting in indigestion, heartburn, or acid reflux. It's usually presents with people who are anemic. You sometimes have some breathing issues due to a low blood oxygen. Blood pressure issues, fragile blood vessels, leg cramps, and a variation in stool consistency as the pressure builds up within the lower digestive system. So this is where somebody goes to have a bowel movement. And it's hard to go at first, but then it's kind of explosive as it starts coming out. So that's usually a pattern 4. And then with that pattern 4, some solutions include probiotic, multivitamins, digestive enzymes with each meal, B complex, chlorophyll, iron, CoQ10, and this particular pattern needs to avoid strenuous exercise. So when I see people recommending that everybody get out there and do their cardio, I kind of cringe a little bit, because we don't know what their pH is doing. How do we know if they can handle strenuous exercise? I love doing this pH so we know. So this is the 5th and final pattern. This is what we call a stress pattern. This is the acidic, or low. Both the urine and the saliva are in the acidic range. I see this often, unfortunately. This is usually brought on, and we call it the stress pattern because extreme physical or emotional stress can lead to this pattern. Both upper and lower digestion, they're just moving too fast. You can expect increased inflammation in the digestive tract. Listen for labels like colitis, IBS, or IBSD, or Crohn's. This is where malnourishment can occur because of the fast transit time. Think about it. There's no way that the body can absorb the nutrients from the food. The depletion of energy reserves, minerals, and other nutrients are just flushing out of the person too fast. So some people may even appear nervous or moody or fidgety, with anxiety and sometimes depression. Think about those children that you see that are fidgeting all the time, and then they're just given a label for attention issues. Wonder what their pH is doing. The body can take minerals from the teeth and the bones in an attempt to buffer the pH. So this is a pretty serious pattern. Lots of recommendations here. So we want to remove the stressors, whether it's food, environment, emotional, etc. We want to work on those stressors. Stress causes disease, guys, and this is that pattern that people get into chronically, and then they end up in some kind of really bad event in their body. We want to support the kidney and the bladder and the cardiovascular system. Definitely want to support with vitamin D, iron, B complex, probiotics, multivitamins, a full spectrum mineral support, calcium, and turmeric can help as well. So I also love to recommend balancing pH with food. When we eat a balanced diet, it helps to support the body's natural processes. And you often hear people like me recommend eat the rainbow. When you're eating the rainbow, you're including a whole lot of food into your diet, and that helps balance the pH. So let's take a look at some samples of foods that are acidic and foods that are alkaline. You can see in that diagram why the standard American diet is causing this pattern 5 acidic. It's most of us in America that haven't quite adopted some healthy eating patterns. I was there just 9 short years ago. Hamburgers, hot dogs, drive-throughs, sodas. But if you look, carbonated water is acidic. I love a good LaCroix with my Vitality drops in it. But if I'm running acidic, that's probably the last thing I need. Energy drinks. We know a lot of people drink a lot of energy drinks. How about some popcorn with that movie? I mean, there are healthy choices, and we want to look at this as an 80-20. So 80% of the foods that we're eating, they should be alkaline. And then 20% can be acidic, because there's got to be that balance. Now, that link that is there, that takes you to this awesome laminated cheat sheet that my clients love. It shows the alkaline and the acidic foods, and it helps you as you're making your meal plan and as you're shopping for your groceries to know where the foods that your family wants to eat fall in this pH realm. Okay, so there are a lot of products on your screen. And, we have to remain compliant in these calls. And so I'm going to walk you through some of these products because these are amazing at supporting the entire body, providing the right environment. Of course, we want to start with foods. We want to start with those foundations. Fixing your basic health foundations that we talked about is where you're going to start correcting your pH. But of course, sometimes it's necessary to supplement, especially if you find that you're in a pattern that may be depleting your nutrients. So we want to make sure we're digesting, because even taking the most wonderful supplements, if we're not digesting well, we may not be absorbing them. And here's something I want you to think about. Have you ever wondered why Young Living has so many powders? I love it. I love that they have the powders, because guess what? Those are easier to absorb and assimilate in the body. So let's take it from the left of the screen here and kind of walk around. You've got your Ninja Greens. This is a brilliant new formulation from Young Living, launched this year at convention. If you haven't started trying this, this is your challenge. You have to get this. Do you remember seeing on the slides the chlorophyll? This product is loaded with it. I love to take my Ninja Greens in with my Ninja Red. Sometimes I'll mix it in with my Inner Beauty Collagen or my Mega Cal, and I just put all the powders in together, especially if I'm traveling, whip them up with a little battery-powered whisk and drink it down. It's delicious. So the Ninja Greens are phenomenal. You're going to thank me for ordering that. The Life 9, that's our probiotic. 9 different strains of fantastic gut-promoting, amazing bacteria to help your gut microbiome return to what it should. If you have been on a course of antibiotics, or if you have been dealing with some gut issues, you definitely need this in your life. I like to take mine 1 at night before bed. ICP Daily, that's another powder, and it tastes delicious. This one is a great intestinal colon product that is going to help bring your body the prebiotics we talked about, but also fiber. We all need more fiber in our diet. And this one is light, and it tastes like you're having just a little fruit juice. It's really good. Now, Power Meal, I put that one in here because some people may actually need to just be on a meal replacement for a little bit while they're healing their gut and returning their pH to the proper balance. And so Power Meal is a great thing to substitute maybe one meal, or even go on a fast and have this as just your nutrition. because it is loaded with nutrition and you can replace your meals with that. Now, we talked about the digestive enzymes, and we have several. And this is one of the most common questions that my customers ask me about is, what is the difference? And so you've got your detoxzyme, alkaline, the allerzyme, essentialzyme, and essentialzymes 4. So each one of them have a different broad spectrum form of these digestive enzymes. So protease is what breaks down protein. You want to look at the type of food you're eating, but also, are you having some allergic reactions? Like, does dairy make you phlegmy? If dairy makes you phlegmy and you have lymphatic issues, especially if you have light blue eyes, you're more prone to have lymphatic congestion. So something like allerzyme is going to be your friend. I actually stock all of these in my home, and I trade them up here and there and take different ones. But most people need at least one enzyme with every meal and sometimes before bed. Detoxzyme, if you're in more of a toxic state, that's a good one that's going to help bind with some toxins and flush them out of the body. And then essentialzyme and essentialzyme 4, very similar. One is time released, one is not. One you take once a day, one you take with every meal. And then multigreens is kind of up there hiding behind the essentialzyme. That is another source of chlorophyll. So you can take multigreens and Ningxia greens together. There's a whole video out there that your friend with Young Living can help you find that shows why you would need both of those in your life. Most of us do not get enough green nutrition. So then you've got amino-wise in the top back center of the slide there. Do you remember me saying that sometimes you have joint pain and inflammation and muscle pain, and it's usually due to a lack of amino acids? This one's your friend. It tastes delicious. You can combine it with your ICP Daily and your Ningxia greens. I actually didn't put our golden turmeric up here, but it should be on this slide because you can add it with all of that. And then you're getting yourself that turmeric as well. And then in front, that dropper bottle, this is your broad spectrum minerals, mineral essence. People have a love-hate relationship with that, right? Because it's very strong flavor. But if you put it in some of these other powders and in your drink, you'll never know it's there, but you will absolutely feel the difference. I have friends that put this on their feet and then put socks on just so the body can absorb minerals through the skin. So there's the Digest and Cleanse, which if you're watching this in the month of November, it's actually one of our free promos, right? So that's a good product to have on hand. Helps to support the digestive system. And then sulfurzyme, another source of nutrition for the body, especially joints, muscles, helps to provide that MSM for all kinds of support within the body. Those minerals are things that we don't get from our food, and we need them. And then behind the sulfurzyme, there's Master Formula. That's that magic little blue pouch of supplements that I make sure to get in every day. Powerful enough to use as a prenatal vitamin. My daughter used those through her whole pregnancy and loved the energy and the nutrition that she got from her Master Formula. So when you look at ingredients like iron, when I was talking about needing iron or vitamin D, everything's already in that Master Formula, and you just open one pouch and pour out those 4 capsules and take them at once. Take them in the morning. I don't even need to take them with food, although I know some people do take all of their supplements with food. This one replaces, if you could only get one supplement in your body each day, to me, that's one of the best ones you could grab. So you've got your Ningxia Red there, which is phenomenal. It supports all the systems in the body. You've got your Comfort Tone. So this is part of our cleansing trio, which also includes the essentialzymes. And let's see, there's Detoxzyme, Essentialzyme, Comfort Tone. The other one, I'm just drawing a blank on it. But the cleansing trio, when we talked about doing a colon cleanse, that's what you want to do. And if you're choosing to do that, order it in the cleansing trio. You're going to save a few dollars ordering it that way than ordering the single bottles by themselves. But if you're following a colon cleanse protocol like that one that Dr. Leanne Dearduff wrote about in her book called Inner Transformations Using Essential Oils, you're actually going to need 2 of those cleansing trio kits in your first month. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, so we have our Mega Cal. Calcium is one of those unsung heroes in a lot of ways, but your liver craves it. And when it can't get it from your food or your supplements, it's going to pull it from your teeth and your bones. So Mega Cal, delicious powder. Again, mix it in with everything else or drink it alone. And then Alkaline. This is one of those things that I like to call a rescue product. If you're somebody that's in one of those patterns of pH that you tend to have heartburn, or you're having some just painful stomach episodes, this Alkaline can help bring down that acidic situation going on there. So it comes in a little pre-measured pouch. You just open it up, put it in a glass, put a little bit of water in it, let it foam, because it's going to have a party in your glass. Let it foam, and then in a couple of minutes, it's going to just settle down. Then add the rest of the water that it mentions that you need. I think it's 4 ounces, could be 6. And then drink it down. It tastes really good, and it's going to make you feel better really fast. And then Super B complex was on nearly every one of those. And you're going to get Bs in master formula, but most of us need extra vitamin B. And so with that Super B is definitely going to help you. And we have more products that support your body and your environment so the body can heal itself. These are just, I know it looks like a lot, but these are just some of those that I said, okay, we've got to talk about these. And of course, I did leave out the golden turmeric, and you're probably thinking of some others that I left out that are your favorites. And definitely type those in the chat if you've got one in mind. Okay, so the 1,000-mile journey to healing begins with a single step. The body was created to heal itself. You just have to provide it the right environment. And when you follow the foundations of health, you balance your pH, you use your oils, you drink your water, you get your sleep in, all of those great things. And remember your supplements, your body will thrive in this healthy environment. And I encourage you to test this pH on a regular basis and see how different things are making changes. If you see yourself going backwards, maybe track and see, what did I have? What did I eat? Where did I go? Was I under some stress? Like, check yourself, because you are your own health detective. Nobody's going to do it for you. Of course, mamas were doing it for our family, right? But I love being able to support the body holistically, because, you know, in our line of work with Young Living, we can also fall into that, what I call a bad habit of saying there's an oil for that. And while there is an oil for so many things, when you follow these steps and you have a healthy pH and a healthy digestion and a healthy environment in your body, you're going to use less oils. And you're not going to be looking at an oil for a Band-Aid. Okay. Yes, there are times we need an oil for a Band-Aid to rescue us from something, some bad decision or something that just happened to us. But fewer things are going to happen to you, because guess what? The immune system is also right there in the gut. So when your pH is balanced, your immunity is going to be very strong. Your reserve energies are going to be very strong. Do you ever wonder why some people get everything that goes around, and then some people, they're just seem so resilient? This is one of those root things that we look at in every client we see. So I just want to offer you to follow me. This is a barcode that you can grab the camera app on your phone and just hold it up to the screen. And this will take you to all of my social media where you can find me, follow me, message me. And I'd like to just close this here in a second, give you a couple more seconds to take a picture of that. And then we've got some time for questions, right? I have not been reading the chat. I hope someone has. So yeah, what are some of the questions that you have? Did you guys find this helpful? Did you have some aha moments? Any recommendations for arthritis? So I can't treat, diagnose, prescribe, or make medical recommendations. That's not something that we're supposed to be doing. But I would invite you to look back at this video and look at some of that painful joint and inflammation, because a lot of times those autoimmune conditions are rooted in imbalance in the pH and therefore in the gut. It's how you're digesting or not digesting your food. So I'm sorry. Somebody says I'm totally new to this and I feel like I just got hit with a fire hose. You know what? It's all about baby steps. That's why I say 1,000-mile journey starts with one step. Did you know that you can change the rudder on a ship by 1 degree and eventually turn the entire ship around? Don't look at this like it's overwhelming or that you're being hosed down with a fire hose, because we all start somewhere and we build on it. So I want to invite Mary Beth Hayes to unmute. I see her hand is up. She has a question.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mary Beth.
Yes, I do have a question. This has been very interesting. Could you go over that again about spitting in the cup and collecting urine?
Sure. Sorry, we live on a farm and we have a livestock guardian dog that barks after dark. So, so let me just repeat that again. So I like to use like a little shot glass or a communion cup for the spit. You're just going to work up some saliva and spit it into the cup. And then that's what you're going to use to dip your litmus paper into. So for the urine, you're going to eliminate your urine into a cup. A party cup is perfect. It doesn't need to be your first morning void because that's too concentrated. It needs to be 2 hours or more after your last meal. And your saliva should be collected at least 30 minutes after you've had anything by mouth. And then, of course, just pour those back into the toilet and throw your cups away. It's easy cleanup.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very interesting.
Good. You know, there are some other tests that go further into using your urine and saliva that I actually perform. So it's based on the science by Dr. Kerry Reams, and he has a method of testing called RBTI, and I would encourage all of you to look that up. It's very fascinating. Okay, Melissa Gabbard, go ahead and unmute.
Yes, my question is with the when you're doing the testing and you said we can look at it, did you have one of your graphics that showed what we look for?
Yeah, I didn't. So thank you for reminding me of that. So basically what you're looking for is you want to see some floaties in your urine. We call that cellular debris or albumin. We want to see some because that tells us that the kidneys are actually filtering toxins out. And you don't want to see, you want it to be able to be clear. So if you're holding your cup of urine, you want to be able to see your fingers through that sample. All right. If you can't see your fingers or they're kind of cloudy, you have way too much cellular debris, and you might need to see a doctor and have a urinalysis done to see if you have something brewing in there. And fun fact, we actually shed more toxins through our urine than we do our fecal matter. So we want to see floaties. We don't want to see it completely clear. That means that our kidneys might need some support. My favorite oil for kidneys is juniper. And of course, I love the K&B tincture. Does that help? Okay. Yeah, no way.
May I help with something real quick?
Yes.
So for those, I'm not sure who asked the question, but Young Living, and there's a few great people who have really been behind this to help out with this process. But I just literally went and typed in joint. So if someone's talking about, if you look up what arthritis is and you realize it can have to do with joint health, you just type in joint in the search, it brings up all these different products. And there may be even a section where you have to say learn more. And if you're looking for the immune system, then you can type in immune, and it will bring up different things that we're allowed to say that help support the immune system. So we really can find a lot now on the website where, in the past, it hasn't been as easy. So even like probiotics or different things, if someone's looking for that. So just wanted to make sure that whoever was asking about arthritis, you can always go look up what something is on Dr. Google, and then you can go type it in the website and see Young Living's website and see if we have an easy search for you in there for that.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. That's phenomenal. I didn't even know that was implemented. I knew that some fabulous people were working on it. Thank you, Pam. And so that's awesome that we can see that way. Okay, what other questions do we have? We have a few more minutes before Corey's coming on to talk brand partner strategies with us. I'd like to make some suggestions while you're just thinking of maybe your questions. We talked about those foundations of health. So, sleep is one of those where a lot of people are not getting good quality sleep. You want your sleep to be kind of like you're setting up a stage for the event, right? So the event is the sleep, and you want to start an hour or more before you really want to be asleep, preparing your home, preparing your bedroom, preparing your body to relax and go to bed. Some of you might not like this, but you need to keep your cell phone outside your bedroom. You need to move your Wi-Fi router outside of your bedroom so that you aren't constantly being bombarded by light and by EMF pollution. Use your oils, fill your diffusers, use a lot. Peace and Calming is one of my favorites. It still just makes me giddy and excited to go to bed at night. You can put it on your feet and put it in the diffuser. A lot of us started with a premium starter kit, so you have that. You can also use products that have melatonin in them. That was mentioned in the presentation. I will say, set yourself up for using those products for about a month, and let's see if you can sleep without them. We don't want to replace what the body does with producing its own melatonin. We just want to remind it that this is the circadian rhythm that we want to get in. So lots of things, herbal teas. We have some beautiful teas from Young Living. You can put Roman chamomile, all kinds of things in your diffuser, on your feet. If you're one that goes to bed at night and your mind is just racing, keep a notepad and a pen on your nightstand so you can quickly just do a brain dump and get that stuff off your mind. Especially now we're planning, what are we making for Thanksgiving and what's going to be on our Christmas list? And all of these thoughts are ruminating in our head and it's keeping us awake. Roman chamomile is one of my favorite things for that, to wipe over the forehead and just knock yourself out. So let's see, did we have any more questions?
Tina, you had a question that I think is really good. Can you talk about maybe drinking too much water?
Yes.
She thinks her teenager is doing so.
Yes, you can definitely overhydrate. And we see that in the RBTI testing. I busted somebody on that just a couple of weeks ago. Her salts were really low. Her sugars were really low. So, when you are overhydrating, you're rinsing out all of the good things that you're trying to absorb. And so we want to stick to that half the body weight in ounces of water. Or if you're just starting out, then do that 4 ounces every 30 minutes for 10 hours during the awake time of your day. But yeah, there's definitely an opportunity for you to overhydrate. Go ahead, Pam.
That just made me think of something. Tina, in your expertise with the course that you just finished, and congratulations on all your hard work of doing that. I am really into our powders, which you mentioned, that we have liquid and powder supplements. And I posted the recipe book because people are not taking, or we take for granted that Young Living does what it does on purpose. Do you think, it just came to me, do you think with your expertise and the knowledge you just acquired through these years, do you think that it's better to supplement with our hydration throughout the day also, like by drinking sulfurzyme in our water, by drinking alkaline in our water by drinking amino acid and putting that into the water instead of just straight water like you need the straight water, but you need these other things too. Is that how you believe as well?
That is a great question. And honestly, I have not considered that. I do love the red drink. I do love some of those. I am totally in love with our Jade Lemon Berry Vitality Drops. I also use Zyto software to do an assessment on my clients, and almost every single person scans for one of our Vitality Drops. And that tells me that people are dehydrated, but they're also lacking those good minerals that are in there. So if you have a hard time drinking water, grab some of those Vitality Drops. I think you're going to love them. Just don't use the ones that have energy in them later in the day, because they could keep you energized at night. But going back to your question, I prefer to do all my powders together in the morning, and it gives me an energy that gets my day started. I wake up craving that stuff. Now, is it wrong to put it in your water and sip it throughout the day? Probably not. But are you really getting the whole dose, or is it sitting there and you're adding to it, or you're never really finishing it? Like, I want to know that I got all that goodness in me, right? So put it
I
in,
agree.
drink it.
I agree, but I think starting your day like that, I find that when I start my day with my powders like that I hydrate more throughout the day and feel better. But to
Interesting.
start with the powders, even if it's out, it doesn't matter which one, even, it just feels like it awakens the cells, possibly. I don't know if it does, but it feels like it awakens the cells to say, yeah, feed me more water. I'm ready to absorb.
Yeah, that just makes so much sense. I love these calls so we can exchange those ideas. And, I love that our oils and our supplements, all of them are so bioavailable, and that our company, you have no idea how blessed we are. And I think most of you do, but a lot of you may not. Even as a practitioner, when I'm looking at other brands that are in our literature and in our classes, and I turn it over and something has corn syrup as the second ingredient, I'm just so thankful that we have our seed to seal at Young Living, and that we are not going to use ingredients in our products that are going to cause more harm than good. Is just, it baffles me. So make sure that what supplements you are using are actually quality, that they are produced in a standard that you would not waver on, right? I know at Young Living, we don't have absolutely everything. So sometimes you might have to wait, go somewhere else for your colloidal silver, for example. But we have so much, and it meets that seed to seal so beautifully. So yes, a lot have artificial sweeteners in them, and it is crazy. They're asking for the QR code again. I believe I can drop it in the chat. Also, someone asked about how does the Vitality Drops actually hydrate? Well, they make your water taste awesome. So you're going to drink your water more, so you're hydrating more, but they also have electrolytes in them. I like to look at them like a healthy sports drink, right? My daughter played collegiate volleyball, and she absolutely would not drink what the coach and the team was providing for them for half times and keeping hydrated. We used Ningxia Red in water, and then when we got the Vitality Drops, we used that. But it has minerals in it from the Great Salt Lake. So you are getting hydration plus the minerals. See if I can pull up that last. Yeah, I can do that. Escape. I'm going to share my screen for that QR code. And a lot of times people ask me, what is this QR code? It is from an app called Popl, Popl. And I recently started using that app because it is replacing business cards for me. I'm saving paper, saving trees. I'm constantly changing things around so I don't have to reprint cards. Everything is in that app. I'm not an affiliate. I just love it and I love to recommend it. So it helps me with follow-up with, when I meet people, I can, instead of saying, hey, are you on Facebook? Let's connect on social media. I can just say, open up your camera to your phone, to your camera app. And everybody knows how to use a QR code because of the restaurant menus and during the pandemic. So yay. Okay. All right. We've got about 3 minutes and we will be welcoming the next speaker. I don't see any more hands up. Oh, the app is called Popl, P-O-P-L. When you scan that QR code, you'll see the branding on it. And my phone is just going crazy. So it sounds like all of you are connecting with me. I love it. Yep, there's the Popl link if you weren't able to scan that. And Ramona, I saw your question earlier about, will I be doing this again? Absolutely, but this is recorded. And so we will be sharing the recording for you to watch again. And I would encourage all of you to go back and listen to these calls over and over again. You'll pick up another nugget from all of these amazing speakers that have come before tonight and that will come after tonight and deliver so much needed information. This information is kind of leaving us, right? Because there's so much censorship out there. So we want to make sure that we are repeating what we need to. So please repeat all of the powders that you combine. Really? Okay, let me see if I can remember them all. All right. So there's Inner Beauty Collagen. Love that. Sometimes I put it in my coffee. Sometimes I put it in my energy drink. I use the Ningxia Greens, the Mega Cow, the ICP Daily. You can add sulfurzyme, the golden turmeric, and then the Amino Wise. So many of them, and then just stir them up. I actually make a batch of all of them. I measure out how many days I'm making. So if it's 10 days, I will put 10 days of those scoops in a big canister, so to speak, and then stir it all up. And then I know that 1 tablespoon of all of that, or I think it's 3 tablespoons. I just do a heaping teaspoon and do that 3 times in my water. And then I throw in my Ningxia and stir it up with a battery powered whisk. It's so good. I'm making my mouth water right now. Okay, good. Okay, I saw somebody said that they're currently at Trinity for their CNHP. Way to go. Trinity School of Natural Health is where I went. There are several schools online. I wanted a faith-based one, and that's where I went. And they've got a ton of programs. So if you're interested in just geeking out and learning some cool stuff, I highly recommend them. They've got a Lyme disease course. They've got an herbologist course. They've got all kind of things. So, all right. Well, I'm going to say goodnight, right?
Yes, Tina, thank you so much. And what a blessing, all of your information. So we just appreciate this. Once again, it is recorded. It's going to be located on the Splash Lifestyle Facebook group, which I just put a link in here for you. And that's where all the recordings are. We have over 1.5 years of recordings for health and business. And when you click on those individual links, you'll just have one with all health, one with all business. So you can just grab that link and send that to someone too who's a new let's say brand partner, for example, and just get the right information. So every Monday, unless it's otherwise disclosed that we won't be having a class, and we are going to be going through December. So this will be our last couple of months of doing Monday Night Ignite, at least at this time. So please, the recordings will always stay up. So you'll have that for life, okay? But please join us again next week. And then the top of the hour, at least Eastern, at 8 p.m. is when we start our health call, which will be starting right now. And 7 p.m. Eastern for our, 7 p.m. for our health call and 8 p.m. for our business call. Okay, so just 1 second. Thank you very much, Tina, again.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.